You are now to witness, and my voice is thrashed, so you're not going to get the scream. Like I said, the voice thrashed, no scream. But to witness the awesome, crushing might of, wait for it, I'm going to mine it, but I can't scream. Knuckle up. Welcome, my friends, to a show that apparently never ends. This is Knuckle Up, round number 330. Host, Vincent Price, Eugene S. Robinson. And this is the home of insight. But first, this. Maybe I should open my show with a Nazi salute. Oh, Nazis in the first minute, a la Phil Anselmo. Phil, I was only joking, Anselmo. I had hit out white pride, just joking. Just joking like all the other times I was just joking. This show is about the, if you read the intro, you know it's about the what? I'm still smiling because of it happening. The hard, cold reality next. But first this, Stigmata, calling of the dreamers. Could not see you here. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Being payback and for always nothing. All right, that's enough of that. Oh my God. I was downloading something that came up. Anyway, by way of those of you who haven't been paying attention, very specifically, this is Knuckle Up number 330. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson. And this is a show. Come on! It's like the fucking cat. I'm gonna throw something at you. Stop it. So I am now in Parma, Italy. And I'm on tour with a group called Buñuel. And the group Buñuel is an Italian, what they're calling an Italian supergroup, though it should be noted that I am neither Italian nor super. It is Pierre's band called One Dimensional Man, and or this other band. He's got two bands called Teatro dell'Odio, the Theater of Horror. Apparently, they're big over here, like U2. So he decides he wants his guitar player has done stuff with Damo Suzuki from Can. They decide let's do it like a kind of an American hardcore band, but who has a modern sensibility? So it's hardcore post-punk. It's like hard music over 20 years. Who? So they ask me. They send me a bunch of tracks. I record them in San Francisco. They put a record out. It goes crazy. People are buying it. They say, "Can you come over?" I scheduled a vacation in November to come over. Long story much shorter. Here I am doing 10 shows in Italy. My voice is thrashed out. So that's why you didn't get the scream at the top. But, and it's now like 2 in the morning. We just played a show. I'm dirty, stinking. What is it line? Never cower, never shower, and I'm always stinking. In any case, I'm bringing you the show. Anyway, I watched it, and I've been sitting here for the past 15 minutes laughing and chortling and laughing, and I'm just gonna launch right into it because it doesn't make any sense to hold it off because I don't know if I'll stay awake through the whole show, mostly because of the fluids. I did get the Nazis out of the way in the first minute. There has been some interesting Nazi news if you've been following it, because we had Holocaust Remembrance Day the other day, and there've been a couple of like 99-year-old guys they dragged into court, and people are like, well, he's 99, and we do not give a fuck. We're going to charge you with the murders of 3,000 people, and you can spend your waning 99th year in fucking jail. We don't care. That's the attitude that I like. In any case, I'm sitting here for the last 15 minutes laughing, and you know, Schadenfreude is just taking delight in the pain and misery of others, and on a certain in a certain light, in a certain frame, you know, that a 19-year-old should have some juice and should have some love and interest to people, who should have a supportive father who despite the cocaine and the steroid dealing, you know, is pulling his shit together to get behind his son, and that has no bearing on whether he loves his son or not. You know, a Cinderella story, like they like a rise to the top, a meteoric, a historic run by way of Sage Northbutt. I'm sorry, fuck, I keep getting his name wrong. Sage Northbutt. Did I get it wrong again? I'm sorry. Sage Northbutt. Maybe that's just the way they pronounce it, with a silent C and a present B. In any case, you know, this kid doesn't deserve half of the distaste that's been poured his way. But you got to understand the Cain and Abel story. And the Cain and Abel story, I got into an argument with a guy I trained with, and he was like, why can't you see that this is a story about jealousy? That just because God gives one, the other can't stove his head in with a rock. And I said, why don't you look at it from the point of view of Cain? You know, God was capricious. It was arbitrary. You know, and if you look through the doxology, the text analysis of the Cain and Abel story, third on the list was my contention that it was actually an ancient warning, for Hebraic warning, to say, look, you know, Hebrews were nomads. They had cattle, you know, sheep, goats, these things, and that if you were going to stumble into a field with vegetables being grown and your sheep were going to eat them, the guy who grew them would probably kill you. This is the Cain and Abel story in my mind. It was, you know, the Bible was an oral tradition, a story that was passed down to tell ancient Jews to be wary of guys who planted. But it's transmogrified into this story about jealousy, and you know, that somehow that God, no matter how capricious or arbitrary, that you are just supposed to take it. You're just supposed to take it. And you got guys all over the UFC, not even just the UFC. You've got guys in Bellator, you know, that are just rubbed the wrong way at being able to peek even for 5 minutes behind the curtain that shields the general public from the machinery that is UFC star making. But the great reality of it is, you, with the exception of Chuck Norris, the likelihood of you really creating a star, zero. You come up with one person who they successfully created. One, name one. Conor McGee came to it with the juice. There was no amount of coaching, no amount of let's just let Conor McGee make. There's no amount. You can't teach that. You can't teach that it factor. You can't teach that thing that they not the E meter, what am I? The Q rating that Hollywood looks at to find out whether somebody's stock is up or down. You can't teach that. You can't teach a chick, even though there were rumors out that Doug Crosby was the one who coached Chael Sonnen. But my belief is that Doug Crosby made a suggestion to Chael Sonnen, which made sense to Chael Sonnen. But what Chael Sonnen did, what he brought to bear, was all 100% Chael Sonnen. It was nobody else. You know, they tried and they tried and they tried, and with Chris Weidman, but even then they gave up. They gave up way sooner. If they had given up on Chuck Norris as soon as they gave up on a Chris Weidman, there would be no Texas Ranger. So my point is, what irks, it's like, okay, I got it. You pick Sage because he's handsome. So, you know, Juban is sitting around going, handsome. Look at this, baby. Look at this, bald one. Don't tell me handsome, baby. Okay, so it's not just that he's handsome, well, that he's young. Got younger fighters in there. you know? So it's everybody having this Cain-like moment where they realize, I got it. God just loves him more. Where's my stone? Well, you know why? Because it's a good story. It's the golly gee Willikers respectful thing. He's probably not going to ask for a lot of money. Says yes, ma'am. Says no, sir. And they believe the bald one from Boston, Massachusetts, believes that this kind of hokum is what America wants to buy when America wants to buy all American. Which, you know, believe me, there's not a single Negro in the UFC who the bald one is thinking about ever as all American. That's the God's honest truth. Don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit. I don't want to see it in the comments. I don't want to fucking hear it, because you know and I know. And the fact of the matter is that doesn't just extend to Negroes. There's not a single Mexican cat in the UFC. Okay, this doesn't extend even to minorities. You know, there are plenty of white fighters who they just look at and make a determination that guy's not on. I'll give you an example. Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone with the cowboy hat coming from Texas and all that. You think he would wash as All-American? Nope. Not sold as All-American. You know, in the bald one's mind, All-American is this sort of guileless, spotless, you know, clean thing, you know, a Paige Van Sant, you know, a Honda Housey, you know, that these were, even though Honda's, you know, worked overtime to add some sort of flesh and bones to her, literally and figuratively, to her brand via her real personality. So the reality of it is that, you know, Sage gets the benefits, and with the benefits come the debits. So on the one hand, I feel sorry that a 19-year-old should, should be getting generalized abuse from the likes of the chattering class and you know, and haters in general, which I might be one of. But part of it's a process, man. You know, I mean, I imagine Cain when he stove his brother's head and said, "Sorry, God just fucked you on this one, buddy." You know, you can't create a situation where, like Dave Chappelle said, "I'd like to thank God for giving everybody else so much and me so little." Barbarina even said that. He said going into it, he goes, you know, and he said it, and he put a fine point on it, mocking Northbutt afterwards, that he said, you know, he said, you know, it's kind of a drag for the rest of us, you know, because it's not like the reality of it is, it's not like Northbutt had the it. He didn't have a high Q rating. He was just sort of like a cipher that allowed the marketing forces at Zuffa to kind of create a generalized impression of the golly gee Willikers guy, and you know, he's going to stay in college. And in other words, it ran counter to the commonly felt delivered narrative of the UFC being a sport for tattooed thugs. And of course, what does a thug look like? Well, let's look at Sage Northbutt. I guess a thug doesn't have a thug. Everything is the opposite of what he has. Okay, a thug has a beard, maybe. Maybe he's got a beard. Maybe he's got long hair, but he definitely doesn't have blonde hair. So all the white fighters are sitting around going, "Wait a minute, hey, wait a minute." Now, these are the underpinnings. These are the underpinnings, and I'm not saying it's a question of race. I'm having to say I'm saying it's having to do with this kind of twisted media conception of what constitutes all-American. You know, the people who, you know, you can't even fill a stadium with the numbers of people in America whose job it is, me included, to mediate reality for you. It's not 50,000 people, not 50,000. I wouldn't say that 50,000 journalists working at some of the top 10 most read publications. I'm not seeing that number being that high. So, and you know, there's this kind of weird feedback loop between the bald one and the media, and eyes value growth deltas, making the company worth more. This is what was behind the push, but they had to eventually give this guy a real fight. And everybody who fought him realized, oh shit, they stopped that guy, the last guy who fought, you know. It was a weird stoppage. Yeah, 2 weird stoppages in a row. They had to give him somebody real. So they give him Bob Arena. Bob Arena. Bob Arena. This is going back to Welcome Back Kotter for those of you under 30. Yo, Mr. Kotter. Look it up on YouTube. Welcome Back Kotter. John Travolta's first big stand. Anyway, they had to give him a guy who was better, and they got it in Bob Arena. I know his name is Bob Arena, but let's, for our purposes, call him Bob Arena. Hey, you look just like Vinny Barbarino. Yeah, like. Anyway, you know, Sage came out and he did his chop suey stuff and he fought a great first round. And, you know, guy's back and it was, you know, it was Sage. And then the second round, he got half guard, head and half guard. What the hell was it? What would I call it? Jiu-jitsu. It's head and arm, you know. You know, somebody texted me immediately afterward, and the text says, right here, the text says, Eugene, would you have tapped to that? And I have to say, no fucking way. No way. To make that move work on me, you've got to get out of my half guard, put your right leg take your right leg, and put it next to my right leg, and pretty much hump the floor while digging your head in and pulling that tight. What was most disturbing, Northbutt lost, was not that he hit Viva, but the American icon they've so carefully created, and that, you know, the growth deltas in the women's market. He's got Oscar De La Hoya. He's got this high chick appeal, maybe that's it. I don't know. I haven't heard a single woman who likes MMA come to me and say, hey, Eugene, we think Sage Northcutt is hot. The reality of it is most women in their 20s or 30s find 19-year-old men slightly repulsive, unless they're school teachers, apparently. Not because they're not sexy. I'm not saying that Sage Northcutt could be the sexiest thing in the world, but you know, these women are imagining having to have a conversation with him. And God forbid he should call one of them ma'am. Date's over. So, you know, so that Sage Northbutt, you know, that he loses, and he loses in the way he loses. and you know, here we are at that Diana Ross moment. Tell me where the road turns, Mr. Northbutt. Now, I'm not saying that this kid's not a good journeyman fighter, but just let him be. With this obsession with selling to the American public this outmoded idea of what, an all-American hero is. You know, if anybody was that, it would have been a Chris Weidman. The guy actually goes to church. Do you know anybody? Well, maybe you do. I don't know too many people who go to church. Chris Weidman's going to church. He's got a wife. He's got kids. He lives on Long Island. You know, he has no charisma. Well, frankly, neither does Sage. But I got it. Sage was a cipher, and you could put anything you want on Sage. I got it. Now what? Next, like Guru said, the rap guy Guru, who's dead, Elam, his brother teaches at Stanford. You know, he had that song, "You're part of the past, girl. Now you're my ex-girl." Next, I can't remember. Or you can go, if you want a song with Next, you can go by Jacques Brel. I followed a naked body, and naked body followed me. Next. Also done by Scott Walker. So yeah, this is going to be a music-heavy show. So do I feel sorry for Sage Northbutt? Fuck no. You know where I was when I was 19? Disowned by my father, eating dead grass and living in a trailer when I wasn't living in a van. She's disowned by both mother and father. How do you like that? And running from the cops and getting into fist fights that I was losing mostly. So nobody was giving me $50,000 checks, in other words. But that shouldn't frame my coloration. What I dislike is the kind of blind kind of adherence to this party line that all America means one sort of thing nowadays. Are you fucking crazy? got blonde hair, blue eyes, chiseled good looks. That's all American. No, man, that's all male prostitutian. Hey, who's buying this? Who's buying this? Look around you. America has changed. I mean, keep in mind, also, it's like the bald one is not all American. No, he's not all American. So this fictional idea of the all American that he's trying to sell America, I don't know where it's coming from. I really don't know where it's coming from. I mean, Tom Cruise technically wouldn't fit that definition. He's got the kind of homosexual rumors. He's dark haired. He's kind of shorter. Got the weird religion thing. I mean, what does it mean to be? Is Ryan Gosling all American? Nah, he's got you're playing the crackhead in the movie and a Nazi thing, and Brad Pitt's kind of all American. But anyway, I am in full delight about things. And yeah, I don't even care that it's probably about at the level of a seventh grader that I keep calling him Northbutt. But so what? You guys had a chance. You could have stopped this right away. You could have stopped it right away. You nominated me for MMA personality because I know nobody else who's nominated will call him Sage Northbutt. I have. I will. I did. And I said I'm going to bring more live, but I got 2 fighters. I got one in California, and I'm going to see this guy in Rome who's a European boxing champ. I'm going to have him on the show. I'm going to figure out how to tape this stuff thing. So anyway, so I'm still smiling from this. He's done. So I'm going to have to phantom toll with him. He's just one of those guys for him to fire him. But I'm a Jake Ellenberger fan. Anyway, these things we don't. Cyrus, so I picked that. And I didn't really care for these. I did like was fine. Started thinking, we need a post ultimate TV show like a lot of John Jones and Brown, from the sidekicks to it's 50 cent checks. So that's fine. You see the great lightweight hope. I know he's not lightweight. I'm sorry. What weight? 175. Did I care about it? Nah. Same with Mike Kashvili and Damon Jackson. shit. He's a guy that we had on Knuckle Up. I don't know how. In any case, Ben Rothwell was a friend of the jiu-jitsu coach. Just can't remember now. We had him come in to Knuckle Up and do a tutorial up at the UFC gym with Chris Sanford, the first and only man to knock me unconscious. And Chris Sanford was on the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. And so, but Josh Barnett, as a catch wrestler, he goes up Colleen Schneider, a female, and he challenged him to a race for pink slips because apparently he's working on some little automobile of his. That I had to send him a picture of the mighty 1965 Chevy Chevelle Malibu with a 502 engine and 560 horsepower pumping out of that thing. And said, anytime you want to race, young man, I'll be glad to do so. I think I'll hold off of that for a bit till he recovers from what was his loss. Now, I picked Rothwell to win because of the double knuckle up factor. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm in Italy. It is what it is. Yeah, you know. Why doesn't somebody send me an email and let me know if you're still getting this? Let's see. OX. Oh yeah, here you go. Your stream is fucked. I know you gave out your no, but I didn't take that shit down. Okay, thanks, man. How about OX underscore BOW at some of you are seeing. All right. All right. And, why don't you guys send me some Eugene S. Robbins? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Give me a heads up. What about now? Um, It's back. Okay. People are dropping off. Shit. All right. I'm gonna end the show quick because I don't know how much longer I can be on. Why did it? I just texted somebody and the text got kicked back. All right. How about this? I'm gonna give you the number and text me if you can hear this. Don't be texting me a lot. It costs me a lot of fucking money. I'm all far away. 650-714-4891. And I'm going to try to wind this up pretty quick because I'm have doubts about what's going on here. Rothwell, Barnett, calling Schneider is a known associate, friend of Knuckle Up, not a friend of Knuckle Up, a known associate. So, you know, it was a tough loss for out of the fight game for drug thing, and you know it's just and he's got a lot of notable losses, and as far as I'm remembering, not a significant win. And Roth is somebody made a couple of points. Sure, dog, that division and deep heavyweight for. We're about to see if you're not like a major kind of, because nobody's got a clock at stars today. Look at the guys in their 20s and their 30s, early 30s, and maybe you can see where the road might be turning. But yeah, you know, all eyes are turning to John Jones, who I'm hearing bad things about again from spies in New Mexico in terms of the company the dude keeps and how he's spending his time. You think there were lessons learned there? The jungle is telling me no. The jungle is very definitely telling me no. And of course, the main fight, I picked Ryan Bader because Ryan Bader's a friend of Knuckle Up. He's been on the show possibly twice, definitely once. And, you know, it was not an enthusiastic pick, but I just couldn't be picking the guy who's got the domestic abuse beefs, no matter how much I like watching him fight. And, you know, it was a tactical error. There are tactical errors and there are tactical errors. Chris Weidman, you know, deciding to do that kick and getting his back taken by Luke Rockhold was a tactical error, but he wasn't winning that fight anyway. I don't care what you guys say, or those of you who are Chris Weidman nut jumpers, that fight wasn't happening anyway. All right. However, I think Bader could have been competitive, but it's like a broken glass, man. If it's a small crack, water's going to get in, and water could fuck up the whole works. In this instance, it fucked up the whole works. You know, what were you doing? You don't need to shoot in on that guy. Guys, oh, you're a better wrestler. What kind of point are you trying to prove? Has anybody, I mean, you might get lucky and knock somebody out the first 30 seconds, but you got to get that. Oh, okay, good. So, but you guys can hear me. Thank you. I got it. So I'm going to keep going. Maybe I'm going to try to wrap it up. But so, you know, maybe you get lucky, but get that shit out of your head that you're going to, you know, in your rock and roll MMA fantasy, you might be rushing across the cage and punching somebody out and they go out in 30 seconds. Yeah, you might be getting that, but you're not going to get that all the time. And certainly against not somebody who's up in the top 5. No fucking way. The guy who's up in the top 5 is waiting for you to do just what you did. Ryan Bader's a friend of Knuckle Up, but that was, you know, that was a character issue. I mean, Chris Weidman was out talented against Luke Rockhold. This is just ends up the same way. That guy like Klaus Barbie said, you know, you give me 1,000 lifetimes of lead, I would be what I have been. You give Ryan Bader 1,000 lifetimes of lead, I think he can't stop himself from doing what he did, which is to shoot in. I mean, I can see the thinking. He's like, you know, this guy's always knocking people out in the first 30 seconds. Fuck that. I'm not going to be knocked out. I'm going to aggress. I'm going to be the aggressor. And I'm going to be the aggressor in a way that serves my purposes by shooting in on them. That shit didn't work. There are other ways to keep from getting punched out. What are they? I don't know. I've been punched out by Chris Sanford, the first guy to ever get kicked off of the UFC Ultimate Fighter show. So what do I know? It was great. It was great being knocked out. I recommend it to anybody. In any case, I'm sorry for the technical issues. They're sort of fucking my roach and my buzz, and it's not been helped. This tequila I've been drinking and so forth. But anyway, look, this is not. I'm talking about being MMA person. This is not the kind of show I'm talking about. One, I am in Parma, Italy. Two, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I have never missed about insight. I know some of you have been complaining about it being too abstruse. I know you complain about the use of the word abstract. Too hard to follow. Too thick. Too many digressions. And you know, MMA, to which I have to say in a very, the show is what it is. Don't go to Boston Market and complain about Boston Market every time you go to Boston Market to complain about Boston Market, because the guys who work in Boston Market, we don't want to hear. Anyway, this is round number 330. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Let's see. Next week, this time, I will still be in Italy. So I'm going to try to do yet another show, maybe from Rome or Bologna. I don't know. It'll be my last show from Italy for quite a while, but I'm hoping I get a better connection than now. This is a 4-star hotel. You should see the luxury that I've got here. You want to see luxury? I'll show you luxury. Look at this lamp. Look at this lamp. This lamp is made from genuine pewter. You know, this is what I've been using to light the show. Look at this couch. Anyway, thanks for coming in. I can't shout to close the show, but you know what I'm saying when I say, look what you made.